did you grow up?
Well, I kind of grew up in a couple of different places. Until I was age 7, I grew up in Johnston, Rhode Island. And then after that, I moved down to Slidell, Louisiana, until I was 17, where I then moved to Picayune, Mississippi, and finished high school.
Tell us about your family.
I am the youngest of 3. My parents, Richard and Maureen, have been together for over 47 years. My oldest sister is named Kristen. My middle sister is Erin, and then there's, of course, me. Now I am married to my wife, Alicia, and have a little boy named Gabriel.
Tell us about your years in high school.
Well, some people may not realize it, but I was not exactly what you'd call the best student in high school. I actually didn't even consider college to be an option until 11th grade. Up until that point, I never thought I was even smart enough to go to college.
What was a pivotal moment in your teenage years?
So one of the pivotal moments of my teenage years was failing 8th grade. I failed. I failed right before going to high school. And I had looked to my parents to hopefully let me go to summer school, but they told me no. So I had to leave all the friends that I had behind and start over again. And then 2 years later, I wind up moving again to Picayune to start over again in 11th grade. So it was, at one point, I had basically just spent most of my time eventually just doing schoolwork because I didn't know anyone.
What jobs did you have in high school?
Ooh, I had a lot of jobs in high school. I worked at Wendy's when I was 16. And then after working there for about a year or so, I decided to go work at a car wash, believe it or not, for another year. And then when I had moved to Picayune, I had decided to get a job at Phillips Lumber Yard, where I hauled lumber in cement bags after school. And after getting tired of that for a while, I then switched over to working at a golf course, believe it or not, for another year and a half till going to college.
What's the funniest thing you could think of that happened to you in high school?
All right, so I had joined the track team, and I had never actually ran competitively before that, but I was throwing the discus and the shot put for that first year. Well, one of the kids who ran the 400-meter dash had an injury, and I was the reserve runner for the 400-meter dash. So the coach told me, get up. It's time for you to take your spot on the 400. And I'd never run it before, so panic set in. And right when they fired the gun off at the starting line, I kind of forgot to breathe. And I held my breath for almost 300 meters. And when I was rounding the last curve, I got really, really lightheaded and started getting really wobbly. And apparently, since I had taken off extremely fast, like I was running a 100-meter dash, I threw off everyone behind me too, because they thought I was going to keep that pace. So by the time we had finished the race, the last 100 meters or so took about everybody that was there, almost 20 seconds to finish. And after they certified our positions in the race, I walked over off the track and immediately fell out.
Tell us about your college experience.
Well, I had decided on going to Southern Miss, where I majored in biological sciences. A few friends of mine were playing rugby at the university and invited me to play, so I went out and played rugby for Southern Miss for a few years, and one day just happened to be walking along and met the most beautiful girl I'd ever seen and asked her out to dinner right there, and that's how I met my wife. After 4.5 years at Southern Miss, I graduated with my degree and had a minor in chemistry and was licensed to teach science.
How did you choose the college to attend?
So Southern Miss had a nationally ranked program in biology, and it was close enough to my house to where it wasn't like if I had to go home, it wasn't like a 5-hour drive or anything like that. It was about an hour from where I lived in Picayune. And but it wasn't so close that I knew my mom wasn't gonna just randomly come over just to say hi. So that was part of the reason why it was far enough but not too far away.
How did you choose your profession? Were you always wanting to become a teacher?
Well, there was a couple of things that led to that. The primary one being my senior project in high school, actually, for my English class. One of the things I had to do was actually to teach a class, and I taught a class on CPR, and everyone who took the class also had to take the CPR certification, and my entire class of freshmen that were there, they all passed the test, and so that was something that kind of motivated me to want to try that on a larger scale.
What's something outside of school that you're passionate about?
So besides the obvious of, being a dad and hanging out with my family, I love video games. I play them all the time. They are the thing I do to relax. I like card games, board games, video games, just about any way to nerd out instead of focusing solely on what people think I do every day is just go home and read a science book.
Tell us something you've always dreamed about doing, something on your bucket list.
So hopefully, I'd like to go to Ireland one day and get to go see the Irish play professional rugby. That would be awesome.
What's something students might not know about you?
So one thing that students might not know about me was when I was younger, I was diagnosed ADHD and had a lot of difficulty learning, reading, and doing math to the point where I had a 504 and had one for a very long time, and it wasn't until high school that I didn't need it anymore.
What's something you love about this school?
Well, to explain what I like about the school, I got to go all the way back to the first phone call I had got from Mr. Orr. He had called me asking if I could come in for an interview, and I had told him that I had a plan for an interview for another high school within the district at 11 o'clock. And he said, "Did you say 11 o'clock?" And I said, "Yes." He said, "Great, be here at 10. So I showed up at 10 o'clock, and I met with him, and he was the first professional, in his position as principal, who actually was focused on asking me, questions about what it was like to what I would do as a teacher, so on and so forth. Gave me scenarios that I'd have to work through and things like that. And I knew just from the questions that he asked me that he was of high quality, and that the people that were going to be here were high quality people. And sure enough, after meeting other members of the administration, I got to see how incredibly high quality it is in the administration. And to enjoy loving the ability to teach, you have to have the people who are in charge of you, your bosses. You have to be people that you respect, and that they are people that are trustworthy, and they really are. Miss Lamb, Mr. Heron, and Mr. Harlow, and Mr. Witt, and they've all been just amazing to me. And it's one of those things that when you have that kind of person who's in charge of you, it makes your job in the classroom that much easier, because now you're not stressing about is your boss going to come in and just ruin your day for no particular reason.